The diner sat at the edge of a sleepy town, its neon sign flickering as if it were alive. Inside, the smell of bacon sizzling on the grill mixed with the aroma of fresh coffee brewing in the corner. It was a gathering place for locals, where laughter and chatter filled the air. Regulars knew each other by name, and everyone had a favorite booth or seat. Among them was a biker gang leader known as Iron Mike. With his leather jacket and tattoos peeking out from beneath his sleeves, he had an intimidating presence. His deep voice could silence a room, but those who truly knew him understood there was more to him than just toughness. Despite his fearsome look, Iron Mike had a surprising sense of justice that often came to light when he saw someone in need. Sitting near the counter was Sarah, the diner's young waitress. She was well liked by customers for her bright smile and cheerful attitude, but today, something seemed off. As she moved between tables, her sleeves slipped up, revealing bruises that told a story of pain. Iron Mike couldn't help but notice. He watched her as she served coffee and cleared plates, trying to hide her discomfort with every movement. The contrast between the lively atmosphere and Sarah's hidden struggles tugged at Iron Mike's heart. He felt compelled to find out what was going on, knowing he could not ignore a cry for help when it lay right before him in this bustling diner. Sarah moved gracefully between the tables, her quick pace matching the rhythm of the diner. With her bright smile and friendly demeanor, she made sure to greet each customer like an old friend, pouring coffee and taking orders with ease. Her laughter often rang out, creating a warm atmosphere that kept the regulars coming back for more. However, beneath her cheerful exterior lay a different story. As she filled mugs and wiped down counters, Iron Mike couldn't ignore the bruises peeking from under her rolled-up sleeves. They were dark and ugly, stark against her brown skin. Each bruise seemed to tell a tale of struggle and pain that clashed with the brightness of her spirit. Despite working long hours at the diner, Sarah never complained. She juggled school during the day and shifts at the diner in the evenings, determined to support herself and make a better life. But today, there was a weariness in her eyes that didn't match her usual bright energy. Iron Mike noticed how she winced slightly as she reached for a heavy pot, trying to mask the discomfort with a brave smile. The contrast between Sarah's hard-working nature and the bruises on her arms sparked a deep concern within Iron Mike. He felt an urge to protect her from whatever was causing this pain. As he watched her serve customers with grace despite her struggles, he knew he needed to find out what was happening in her life, hoping to offer help in any way he could. As Iron Mike sat at his usual table, his thoughts raced. The laughter of the diner patrons filled the air, but all he could focus on were the bruises on Sarah's arms. He was known for his tough exterior and fierce reputation as a biker gang leader. People respected him, or perhaps feared him, but he had always been the one to stand up for those who couldn't defend themselves. Yet now, he faced a dilemma. Should he intervene and risk his reputation? What would the other bikers think if they saw him caring for a waitress? The image of himself as a hardened leader clashed with the instinct to protect Sarah from whatever was causing her pain. Part of him wanted to remain aloof, to keep the tough facade that had earned him respect in the biker community. But another part, the part that had always cared about justice, felt an undeniable need to act. Iron Mike's heart ached as he recalled moments from his own past when he had wished someone would step in and help him. He remembered being a young man struggling against bullies and finding solace in those who stood by him during hard times. This memory fueled his desire to be that person for Sarah. As he watched her serve customers with grace despite her visible discomfort, a softer side of Iron Mike began to emerge. He knew that deep down, helping her might not only change her life but also redefine who he was meant to be. As Iron Mike contemplated his decision, a flashback swept over him, taking him into Sarah's past. It was a time filled with struggle and hardship that shaped the strong woman he saw today. Sarah had grown up in a tough neighborhood, where dreams often felt out of reach. Her childhood home was small and cramped, shared with family members who were always trying to make ends meet. With her parents working multiple jobs, Sarah learned early on the importance of hard work and perseverance. At school, she faced her own share of challenges. Often bullied for her quiet nature, she found solace in books and dreams of a brighter future. With each page she turned, she imagined herself escaping the confines of her difficult life. However, the harsh reality outside those pages was always waiting for her, a reality where opportunities were limited, and hope sometimes felt like a distant dream. Determined to create a better life, Sarah took on part-time jobs while balancing her studies. She excelled in her classes, dreaming of going to college one day. But as her responsibilities grew, so did her exhaustion. The long hours at the diner were necessary to pay the bills, yet they took a toll on her body and spirit. Despite the bruises she wore as reminders of battles unseen, Sarah continued to push forward, hiding her struggles behind that bright smile. Iron Mike realized that her resilience was inspiring but also heartbreaking. She felt trapped in a cycle she couldn't seem to break, and it tugged at his heart as he watched her serve with grace through her pain. After a long shift filled with the usual hustle and bustle, Iron Mike could no longer ignore the heaviness in his heart. He watched as Sarah served customers, her laughter seemingly masking the pain she carried. No longer able to hold back, he stood up and walked towards her at the counter, feeling a mix of nerves and determination. "Hey, Sarah," he started, his voice low but steady. She looked up, her eyes brightening for just a moment before the weight of her reality settled back in. "Can we talk for a minute?" At first, she hesitated, glancing around to see if anyone was watching. "Sure, Mike," she replied cautiously, wiping her hands on her apron. They moved to a quieter corner of the diner where the noise softened into the background. "Look," he began, taking a deep breath. "I've seen those bruises on your arms. You don't have to hide what's happening. I just want you to know that you can talk to me." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she considered his words. "I didn't want anyone to know," she admitted, her voice shaking slightly. "It's just, things have been tough at home." As she shared her story of struggles and fear from living in an unsafe environment, Iron Mike listened intently. The walls around him seemed to fade away as he focused solely on her pain and strength. In that vulnerable moment, a connection formed between them, a promise that someone cared enough to listen and help. After his heartfelt conversation with Sarah, Iron Mike felt a spark of determination igniting within him. He knew he needed to rally his gang and devise a plan to support her. That evening, as the sun began to set and the neon lights of the diner flickered to life, he gathered his crew at their usual spot, a nearby garage filled with motorcycles and camaraderie. The gang members, known for their tough exteriors, looked up curiously as Iron Mike addressed them. "Listen up," he said, his voice steady but urgent. "We've got a situation that needs our attention." He recounted what he had learned about Sarah's struggles, sharing her story in a way that revealed not just her pain but also her strength and resilience. "Sarah is one of us," he continued, emphasizing the importance of loyalty within their brotherhood. "She works hard every day just to get by. It's time we show her that she's not alone." The room fell silent as his words sank in. The bikers exchanged glances, their usual bravado replaced by a sense of purpose. One member spoke up, nodding in agreement. "We can help her out financially or even organize some support for her at home." Another added, "Let's make sure she knows we're here for her, maybe even do some repairs around her place." As they brainstormed ideas and made plans to rally around Sarah, Iron Mike felt proud of his gang's commitment. In that moment, they transformed from a group of bikers into a family ready to protect and uplift one of their own. As the night progressed and plans began to take shape, Iron Mike and his gang gathered around a table littered with coffee cups and empty plates. Together, they brainstormed ways to address the source of Sarah's pain, their minds racing with ideas of how to enact change. The atmosphere was charged with excitement as they transformed their concern into action. "Let's start by finding out who's responsible for those bruises," one biker suggested, leaning forward with intensity in his eyes. "We can't let anyone hurt her anymore." The others nodded in agreement, ready to act on this unified goal. They discussed discreetly gathering information about Sarah's situation, hoping to obtain details without putting her in danger. Another member of the gang chimed in, what if we show her she's not alone? We can organize a community fundraiser to help cover her expenses. Ideas flowed freely as they mapped out a plan, maybe fix up her apartment or create a safe environment for her. Iron Mike felt a swell of pride watching his crew come together as unlikely allies for Sarah's cause. They were more than just a group of rough bikers, they were friends united by compassion and a shared mission. The plan wasn't just about protecting Sarah, it was about creating hope in a world that often felt dark. As they wrapped up their discussion, Iron Mike knew this plan would not only change Sarah's life but also strengthen the bond within the gang. With determination in their hearts, they set out to show that true strength lies in standing together for those who need help the most. The day had come for Iron Mike and his gang to confront the person responsible for Sarah's bruises. As word spread through the diner, a mix of anxiety and excitement filled the air. Regular customers sensed the tension as they watched the bikers roll in, their leather jackets and determined expressions causing whispers to ripple through the crowd. Iron Mike stood at the entrance, flanked by his gang members, their presence commanding attention. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. They had learned from a few of Sarah's friends that the perpetrator, her abusive partner, could be found in a booth in the back corner of the diner. The mood shifted as they approached him, and everyone held their breath. Without hesitation, Iron Mike confronted the man, his voice steady but low. "You need to leave her alone," he said firmly, every word dripping with protective intensity. The man scoffed initially, but Iron Mike was unwavering. He could feel the support of his gang at his side, each member ready to back him up. The atmosphere crackled with tension as customers observed this unsettling scene unfold in their beloved diner. Some rooted for Iron Mike, recognizing he was taking a stand for someone in need, while others felt uneasy about the confrontation escalating into violence. The perpetrator's arrogance faltered as he met Iron Mike's fierce eyes, and he slowly began to realize he was outmatched, not just by physical strength but by a community rallying behind Sarah. As more patrons stood up in solidarity with Iron Mike's mission, it became clear that this was not just about addressing Sarah's pain but was also about empowering a community to stand together against abuse. The tension in the diner reached its peak as Iron Mike stood face to face with Sarah's abusive partner. The air was thick with anticipation, patrons leaned in, straining to catch every word spoken. Iron Mike's gang members stood resolutely behind him, their expressions fierce and protective, ready to defend their own if things escalated. "Listen," Iron Mike said, his voice low but powerful, "you've hurt her long enough. This ends now." The man scoffed at first, clearly underestimating the resolve of the bikers and the community rallying behind them. As Iron Mike continued to speak, something shifted in the atmosphere. One by one, customers began to rise from their seats, standing in solidarity with the bikers. Unexpected alliances formed as regulars joined forces with Iron Mike. Some were friends of Sarah, while others were simply patrons who had witnessed her struggles over time. It was clear now that this wasn't just a confrontation between two men, it had evolved into a stand against violence and oppression. As the abusive partner felt the weight of their collective gaze, his bravado began to crumble. Sensing that he was outmatched not just in numbers but in spirit, he took a step back. The tension broke like a wave crashing against a wall. For a moment, no one moved or spoke. Iron Mike's commitment to protect Sarah was put to the ultimate test as he faced off against someone who had inflicted pain on an innocent person. In that defining moment, it became evident that this fight represented more than just one woman's struggle, it embodied hope and strength for an entire community determined to stand up against abuse and injustice. As the tension in the diner reached its climax, Iron Mike stood firm, his presence embodying strength and resolve. The atmosphere shifted from one of fear to empowerment as the community rallied around Sarah. Patrons who had once been mere observers now became active participants in this battle for justice. The abusive partner, feeling the weight of their collective gaze, finally realized he was no longer in control. With a few strong words from Iron Mike, the man backed away, his bravado crumbling under the pressure of the united front against him. The patrons erupted into supportive cheers, their voices echoing throughout the diner. "You won't hurt her again," someone shouted, and the chant spread like wildfire. It was a moment of triumph that showcased courage and compassion in its purest form. In the aftermath of the confrontation, the mood in the diner transformed. Customers approached Sarah, offering words of encouragement and support. They expressed their determination to help her heal, not just physically but emotionally as well. Iron Mike's gang began discussing ways to ensure her safety moving forward, proposing ideas for self-defense classes and even community outreach programs to raise awareness about domestic violence. As Sarah looked around at her newfound support, tears filled her eyes. For the first time, she felt truly seen and valued by those around her. The diner, once a place of quiet routine, had become a symbol of strength and unity. Justice had been served that day, not just for Sarah but for everyone who believed in standing up against oppression. In that moment, it was clear, together, they could change lives and create a brighter future. In the days that followed the confrontation at the diner, the ripple effects of that moment continued to unfold. Sarah felt a renewed sense of hope and strength as she embraced the support from her community. The encouragement and care she received transformed her mental state. She began attending counseling sessions and took self-defense classes organized by Iron Mike's gang. For the first time in years, she felt empowered to take control of her life. Meanwhile, Iron Mike and his crew underwent a profound change as well. The incident had solidified their bond, reinforcing their commitment not only to one another but also to the community they served. They realized their tough exterior was matched by a capacity for compassion and action. Iron Mike saw in his gang members a sense of purpose that extended beyond riding motorcycles. They now had a mission to stand up against injustice. During their weekly meetings, discussions evolved from typical biker chatter to meaningful conversations about local issues, including domestic violence awareness and community support initiatives. The gang started organizing events to raise funds and awareness, not just for Sarah but for others facing similar struggles. This incident became a turning point for both Sarah and Iron Mike's gang. It united them in ways they never anticipated, showing that even in a world filled with hardship, compassion could spark significant change. Together, they learned that true strength lies not in fear or aggression but in standing together to uplift those who need it most. As they embraced their new roles as advocates for justice, both Sarah and Iron Mike found healing through their shared journey. As time passed, the diner became a beacon of hope and healing in the community. Sarah's journey toward recovery flourished amid the unwavering support of her friends and patrons. The encouragement she received not only helped her regain confidence but also empowered others who had faced similar struggles to come forward and share their stories. Iron Mike and his gang continued to advocate for change, establishing a network dedicated to raising awareness about domestic violence. They organized workshops focused on self-defense and emotional support, inviting speakers who could shed light on the importance of kindness and compassion. This community initiative not only inspired healing but also forged new friendships among those who participated. The once quiet diner now buzzed with discussions about resilience and hope. Regulars gathered not just to enjoy meals but to uplift one another, creating a nurturing environment where everyone felt valued. It was clear that even in tough places filled with hardship, kindness could lead to powerful transformations. As Sarah stood behind the counter one day, serving coffee with a genuine smile, she reflected on how far she had come. The bruises that once defined her were now symbols of her strength, a reminder that no one should face their struggles alone. Iron Mike looked on proudly from his usual booth, knowing that they had sparked a movement greater than themselves. In this small corner of the world, they had proven that love and support could conquer adversity, transforming pain into purpose. Together, they had woven a tapestry of hope where every thread represented courage, the courage to stand up, speak out, and create a brighter future for all.